All right, we are coming back from Savant with Splinter.
All right, then. So that being said, welcome back to the Weekly Trending Fandom Show. My friends, been broadcast here at CKMS Sound FM 1.3 on the FM dial. Well, that being said, we just concluded our actual video game segment. Or gaming segment, if you will. We're going to be rolling into actual comic book segment. Well, that being said, at the very top of my stuff here is this fantastic Phase 2 of the Marvel sequence known as Ant-Man. I got that right, didn't I? It's Phase 2 or is it Phase 3 for Ant-Man?
I think Ant-Man's on Phase 2.
Okay, all right. Well, we're on Phase 2 for the sake of this particular segment then. So basically, this is going to be chit-chatting around the whole Hollywood scene. Basically, Marvel Studios is going to be talking about Ron Rude, plus on top of that, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Maybe you noticed him with a couple other movies.
Yep.
Playing Robin, Batman movie. Stuff like that.
No.
Yeah, no, of course not. But anyways, they're both talking to both actors to prize the role for Dr. Pym of Ant-Man, which would be very interesting. Mm-hmm. I think Paul's going to get it over Joseph, if you ask me, just because Joseph is too much of a hot property. And I noticed that Marvel like they've run with the unknown / watch up actors to actually really hit home with their Marvel characters.
Yeah, it's probably the best bet there.
So basically, but however, you know what? We'll put a poll on the Weekly Trending Fandom page. Once again, folks, it's www.wtfshow.com/Facebook. And we'll put an opinion poll up there, see exactly what you guys think you should get this particular role. Because basically, as much as we complain about it, the more Marvel will move forward with it. Well, that being said as well, we have Fox talking about Days of Future Past. And there were some rumors circulating that this particular movie would be shot on, I believe it's 42 frames or 48 frames per second.
48 frames per second.
48 frames per second. So that's giving it the Hobbit look. The high definition DVD quality that everyone else seems to love and enjoy, except when you see it on the big screen, it looks like total poop in a handbasket. But however, the people at Fox have denied this particular 48 frames per second. So it would be showing a normal 32 frames per second. And that's probably saving the look of the film overall, because seeing Patrick Stewart's bald head,
there's a certain level to the HD where it just starts looking terrible.
That's right. I believe the Max and I were talking about that through Walking Dead, and he was indicating that if he saw it in high definition TV, it looked like complete crap. But if you see it on my TV, which is not high def, thank goodness, because I didn't pay a thing for it.
Yeah.
It looked fine. Unless you saw the helicopter scene. Even on my TV was kind of bad. But, however, the thing is that 42 frames per second, we're just not ready for that type of stuff yet. Just because the thing is all the special effects, CGI, stuff like that all mushing together. Sometimes you need low tech to blur it all nicely to give you one complete image versus images.
Like the high def tech is good for showing off some really important things, like if you're going for like a newscast. Sure, yeah, you need that.
Yeah, you need to see all the actual acid marks on their face.
If they're telling all these, all the different news stories and that kind of thing.
You need to see a bloody kitty in high def. A series of kittens have been killed today due to the stupid they ran across the street.
There's also the informative videos, the training videos. Those things can go up.
Is it training?
Well, yes, training videos.
Interesting. Okay.
Well, I don't know if you're going to help. If you're going to help teach some kids.
I was thinking that with a dirty mind, not.
If you're going to help train some kids in a laboratory how to dissect this, that, and the other thing, a high def camera might be
just a bit much.
Useful. But in terms of cinema, I think they're pushing it a little too far now.
Possibly. Quite possibly. But the thing is, it's be interesting if 28 frames per second succeeds or not. But however, right now, people at Fox are denying that this film will be in 48 frames per second. So, moving forward, because we're punching through our stuff here to meet our 2 o'clock deadline, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Have you heard about the show, sir?
I have been watching this show quite diligently.
What did you think of the last episode?
I really liked it.
Cool.
In comparison to the last episode, please give me this one over the last one.
Really interesting, because I like Samuel L. Jackson. But, of course, we talked about that in full length. And you can actually catch the
regardless of the Samuel L. Jackson bit, that pretty much saved that episode.
Yeah, no, for sure. The thing is that you're absolutely right, because the thing is that there's this device called TV playback. Have you heard of this thing, by chance?
No?
Okay. Well, basically, supposedly with this device, whatever it may be, we'll have to do some more research into it because we're still sort of grasping at straws here. It basically, the ratings was up by 52%, thus giving that particular one show 11 million viewers to watch. Needless to say, the ABC network has picked up a full season, so it looks like we're going to see some more shenanigans of this new zoo crew from Marvel Studios. Should be kind of interesting how this all works out in the end.
Definitely.
For sure. And also, remember, it's also on tonight as well, 8 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. So basically, people chime on in for that one. Plus, on top of that, we'd like to know what your opinion is on The Shield. So if you can, stop by our actual Facebook group once again, which is www.wtfshow.com/Facebook, and basically chime in with your opinions, how this is working out. If you like it, you hate it, or whatever the case may be when it comes to the folks. Now, mentioning more comic book stuff, maybe some people might have heard of this particular Marvel comic book title. A lot of Marvel stuff here, which is interesting, because there's no DC stuff, which is even more interesting. Whatever, moving forward.
Wait, DC has no PR problems today?
No, not at all.
All right.
They're not even on the radar this week. So anyways, moving forward with more Marvel news. There's a new comic book title that seems to be resurfacing back from the 80s called New Warriors. And basically this lineup of fantastic comic book characters will consist of 2 characters from the previous issues, which is basically Speedball and a character named Justice. And they're basically going to be met up with some new characters. The Scarlet Spider, all the way from Australia, which should be just kind of interesting to join the crew.
Yep.
Plus, on top of that, Nova from Sensational Spider-Man will be joining them as well. And another girl called Sunshine Yet. So it should be interesting on how this comic book rolls out. And on top of that, this particular comic book seems to be coming out in February 2014. So a lot of time to build the kids up to buy this particular issue. Have you ever heard of New Warriors before?
No, I have not.
No, you have not. All right. Well, basically, comic books to keep an eye on is Shadowman issue 13. Some really good stuff happening with that. Followed by Witchblade issue, believe it or not, folks, 170. Followed by Star Trek, Khan, because basically, obviously, Khan needs his own Star Trek comic now. Don't know why. That's starting off with issue 1. And, of course, last but not least, Captain Ultimate issue 3. So that keep in mind, please support your local independent comic book stores. Stop on by, pick up your comic books on new comic book day, which happens every Wednesday. And again, support your local independent comic book stores, because why? The big box stores don't need your money, because they already got so much of it already. So that being said, wait a minute.
I've got one more little bit of news for the comic books.
All right.
Just this past weekend, just recently, we had the New York Comic Con.
Oh, yeah.
It has officially surpassed San Diego as the biggest convention.
Wow, that's interesting, because some very quick points back from that is that first off, New York Comic Con actually hijacked people's Twitter accounts to basically see how cool the actual convention was. So that was very interesting, and people who were actually there didn't realize the actual tweets that were coming out were actually personal tweets that looked like they were tweeting themselves. So very interesting marketing scheme. So basically, with that being said, folks, remember, when you actually chime into their actual computer programs that come along with their apps for Twitter, remember, read all the actual stuff that follows with that. Plus, on top of that, Sylvester Stallone stopped on by. Stallone! And you ready for this? He was charging $395 for an autograph, which is also very interesting, because on top of all that, basically, autograph goes from between $80 to $120. So, New York Comic Con got very sneaky, but however, at the same time here, as you said before, they jumped up a #1 rank, basically beating out San Diego Comic Con. Should be very interesting what else comes out from this particular show. Let's see what else I got here. So basically, yeah. That's a good wrap up for that. So let's basically conclude today's show here. I'd like to thank you everyone for actually joining us here on the Weekly Trading Fandom Show. We broadcast from CKMS Sound FM 1.3 on the FM dial every Tuesday 12 to 2. This is us. This is you. Thank you for joining us once again. Plus on top, I'd like to thank very much for 2.0 coming in, and also the Max. Say goodbye, Max. There we go. And with all that being said, hopefully you can join us next Tuesday here. And plus the topic always follows for Creation Shenanigans on our website, which is www.wtfshow.com. Plus, you can stop by our website, which is what I just mentioned, plus our Facebook group, which is www.wtf.com/Facebook. With that being said, we're done. Let's wrap it up. And plus, on top of that, Jeff's coming up with the Arkansas Report, which perhaps is fantastic for everyone who's listening. And let's get out of here. I feel like lunch. Let's do some chicken. All right, let's go.